As law enforcement officers, we're not only interested in documenting the initial crash, but secondary crashes as well. In this segment, we'll talk about what constitutes a secondary crash and how to properly document that on the form.
At CDOT headquarters, there is work going on behind the scenes to understand data that ultimately will make the roads safer for everyone. The data tells a unique story for analysts that law enforcement officers are collecting through the crash form.
What we're really looking for in a crash report is a singular snapshot of a destabilized incident that can be corrected with either engineering or behavioral intervention.
Captain Grimsley with the Colorado State Patrol shares it can often be challenging for officers to understand the nuances involved with every crash.
Where the confusion sometimes comes in with that. As an officer, I may not know that there was an original crash. If those people moved off the road before I got there, and I was never advised of that crash, I had no idea if that was caused by that or just normal traffic backup.
A secondary collision is defined as a crash occurring within an incident scene area or within a traffic queue, including the opposite direction, resulting from an original accident. Let's look at another scenario involving two accidents in opposite directions on I-25.
A crash occurs on the northbound side of an interstate, and you're on the southbound side. Everybody slows down looking over it at the crash on the northbound side. Somebody behind you doesn't notice that everybody slowed down and rear ends you. That is definitely a secondary crash, or should be considered a secondary crash by law enforcement and indicated as such on the crash report.
It's also very important to link the primary crash number back into the narrative to marry the two reports. These reports lead to engineering decisions about our roadways.
Is it related to a roadway asset? Is there, let's say, a broken part of a bridge, or there's an area that needs to have a reduced speed, or there's an area where people keep going off the road because they're swerving to avoid something? We have specific mitigation changes that will affect that area.
Which is why it is so imperative for law enforcement officers to understand what constitutes a secondary crash.
I think it comes down to really working with your dispatch or your 911 center to understand if there was another incident that had occurred in that area that might have caused the backup.
For more information on reporting secondary crashes, visit the Investigating Officer's Crash Reporting Manual.